At the height of World War II, Soviet infantry faced a threat that could literally change the course of battles: German tanks. Light, fast, and heavily armored, they tore through defensive lines, forcing commanders to find a solution that would give ordinary soldiers a chance against these machines. Traditional tools like heavy anti-tank guns required full crews and preparation time, while grenades, Molotov cocktails, and improvised weapons were only effective at close range, making their use extremely risky. The Soviet Union urgently needed a weapon that was powerful enough to penetrate armor, light and mobile enough for a single soldier to carry, and simple enough to master quickly. Combat experience in Spain and at Khalkhin Gol had made one thing clear: without personal anti-tank weapons, infantry was doomed to passive defense. By the late 1930s, the Red Army had begun developing new models that combined the firepower of artillery with the mobility of small arms. When Germany launched a full-scale invasion in June 1941, this need became a matter of life and death. On the battlefield, soldiers needed a tool capable of penetrating 30 to 40 millimeters of armor, while remaining within a range that allowed stealthy, effective action. The task fell to one of the era's leading designers, Vasily Alexeyevich Degtyaryov. Within the first weeks of the war, he was assigned to develop an anti-tank rifle that could be quickly mass-produced. The challenge was to balance cartridge power with simple construction, as every delay meant lost lives at the front. By August 1941, the first prototype had shown impressive results in tests, easily piercing the armor of light and medium German tanks. Its design allowed for large-scale production, and a decision for immediate mass production was made almost instantly. By September 1941, the PTRD-41 officially entered service with the Red Army. Its simplicity was striking: a steel barrel, wooden stock, and metal butt. Weighing around 17 kilograms, it was heavy enough to absorb recoil, but still manageable for infantry use. At nearly 2 meters long, with a 1.35-meter barrel, it gave the bullet high velocity, while the muzzle brake and folding bipod made shooting relatively comfortable for a single soldier. Its sight was calibrated for up to a kilometer, but in practice, effective anti-tank fire was conducted at 500 meters, a range that allowed soldiers to remain concealed and strike unexpectedly. Special attention was paid to ammunition. The 14.5mm armor-piercing incendiary bullet with a steel core could penetrate 35mm of armor at 100 meters, causing both fragmentation and incendiary damage inside the tank. The initial velocity reached 1,000 meters per second, making the rifle effective not only against tanks, but also against light armored vehicles, fortifications, and even hidden machine gun nests. Tracer rounds allowed for fire adjustment, and enhanced penetration variants made the PTRD-41 a versatile infantry tool. The simplicity and reliability of the PTRD-41 made it ideal for mass deployment. By the end of 1941, thousands of rifles were reaching the front lines. While its single-shot design limited rate of fire, skilled soldiers could reach up to 10 rounds per minute through fast reloading techniques. Compared to bulky artillery anti-tank guns, the PTRD-41 became a true lifeline for infantry. A weapon that could be carried on any advance, positioned in ambush, and inflict serious damage even on heavy enemy vehicles. At the time, German tanks seemed unstoppable, advancing rapidly across the front. But in the hands of a soldier equipped with a PTRD-41, the situation changed. Unlike heavy guns that required deployment, crews, and positioning, this rifle allowed for rapid, sudden strikes. Its strength was fully revealed in ambush tactics. Usually, 2 soldiers, an experienced shooter and an assistant, would occupy a pre-prepared position: a ruined building, a camouflage trench, a parapet, or even a snow niche. The key was clear sightlines and the ability to retreat immediately. When German armor entered the kill zone, the shooter targeted vulnerable spots and fired. Side and rear armor were preferred, being thinner, and a hit could destroy machinery or penetrate the engine compartment. Battlefield tactics quickly evolved. In a column of tanks, soldiers would target the first or last, trapping the rest and forcing them into stationary positions. If enemy vehicles tried to maneuver, the shooters relocated and fired again. The mobility of the rifle allowed them to vanish before the enemy could locate their position. The PTRD-41 also proved effective in urban combat. Stone walls that German soldiers considered safe cover were no obstacle. The armor-piercing bullets, with high velocity and hard cores, easily penetrated brick and reinforced concrete, reaching hidden infantry, snipers, and machine gunners. In such conditions, the rifle became a powerful tool for assault groups. A single well-placed shot could eliminate a firing position and clear the way for advancing troops. On rare occasions, PTRD-41 was used at ranges beyond typical infantry fire. The bullet's speed and flat trajectory allowed it to hit targets hundreds of meters further than standard rifles. Snipers employed it against fortified positions, bunkers, and shelters where ordinary weapons failed. Even artillery shields and light armor plates offered little protection. The 14.5mm round literally pierced through. Unconventional uses arose as well. Low-flying enemy aircraft were sometimes targeted with anti-tank rifles. Although risky, such actions occasionally forced pilots to veer off course or disrupted attacks, showing the adaptability of the weapon. Ammunition designed specifically for the PTRD-41 was critical to its effectiveness. Armor-piercing incendiary rounds were engineered not only to create a hole, but to cause internal destruction, injuring crews, damaging components, and igniting fuel or oil. High bullet velocity minimized deviation, ensuring accurate hits when positions were carefully chosen. Yet, the war never stood still. German armor rapidly improved, and by mid-war, tanks arrived with frontal protection that could withstand direct hits. Shooters had to demonstrate ingenuity, choosing angles, waiting for the right moment, aiming at vents, grates, suspension parts, or wheels. Even if the armor wasn't penetrated, damaging the tracks immobilized the vehicle, turning it into an easy target for artillery. During this period, the PTRD-41 became a weapon of true masters. Simply pulling the trigger was insufficient. Shooters studied vehicle silhouettes, knew armor thicknesses, and understood component layouts. Expert soldiers could identify tank models by engine sound and track movement, picking shooting points in advance. Psychology played a crucial role. When tanks entered towns, crews felt invincible, believing infantry could not threaten them. But the sharp crack of the PTRD-41 instantly changed that. Each shot could decide the outcome. Inside the armored shell, impacts sounded louder, unnerving crews. Mechanics made sudden errors, commanders misjudged situations, and gunners lost precious seconds, moments that could turn the tide of battle. Reports regularly documented cases where a single pair of PTRD-41 operators stopped a column, blocked an advance, or even helped repel attacks. Success did not always mean destroying tanks. Sometimes, disabling the lead vehicle was enough to break the assault. By the end of the first year of war, the PTRD-41 had become a symbol of infantry resistance. It proved that enemy armor was not invincible, giving soldiers the confidence to take on German tanks head-on. The rifle became more than a weapon. It was a decisive tool that empowered ordinary infantry against formidable machines. Despite being single-shot, the PTRD-41 inspired a whole school of anti-tank tactics. But the war did not stand still, and Soviet weapons designers faced a new challenge, increasing the rate of fire without losing armor-piercing capability.
This led to the development of Simonov's PTRS-41, a semi-automatic rifle with a 5-round magazine. On paper, it promised faster fire, reduced downtime between shots, and eased the shooter's workload. However, the PTRD-41's simplicity had a crucial advantage. It was inexpensive to produce and easy to teach, making it a weapon that could be issued widely in every infantry company. Both rifles coexisted on the front lines, the PTRD for mass use and durability, the PTRS for higher rate of fire. As the war progressed, anti-tank rifles gradually shifted from exclusively targeting tanks to more versatile roles. With German medium and heavy tanks becoming increasingly well-armored, direct hits became rare. Infantry adapted, using the rifles to destroy firing positions, machine gun nests, vehicles, and even low-flying aircraft. Initially designed for armor, the PTRD-41 became a multi-purpose infantry tool, capable of solving diverse tactical challenges on the battlefield. After the end of the Great Patriotic War, the PTRD-41 did not vanish. It continued to serve in the Soviet Army, gradually replaced by more modern anti-tank weapons, yet remained relevant in other countries. Eastern European Warsaw Pact states, including Poland, Czechoslovakia, and East Germany, received large numbers of rifles for their armies and stored them for potential conflicts. Further shipments went to China, North Korea, and several African nations. During the Korean War from 1950 to 1953, the PTRD-41 demonstrated remarkable longevity. North Korean and Chinese forces used it against UN armored vehicles. Although hits on modern medium tanks were rare, the rifle remained effective against light vehicles, trucks, and fortified positions. Experiences in the Far East and Africa showed that even outdated weapons, thanks to simplicity and ammunition availability, could still be combat effective.
In some unconventional situations, PTRD-41 rifles were used by partisan and insurgent groups without access to modern arms. They created localized resistance zones, struck firing positions, blocked transport routes, and set ambushes. Modifications occurred spontaneously. Handles were changed for convenience, optics installed, and bipods added for firing from fortified positions. These factors ensured the rifle survived for decades. No longer a cutting-edge anti-tank weapon, it remained functional, widely used, and recognizable. In museums, it became a symbol of engineering ingenuity and wartime resourcefulness. Collectors and reenactors valued the PTRD-41 for its historical significance and as a tangible example of a frontline weapon. In films and games, it continues to serve as a visual emblem of Soviet soldier resilience. Interesting facts make the PTRD-41 even more impressive. It was the first Soviet anti-tank weapon created in record time, just a few weeks. Despite its single-shot nature, experienced soldiers could achieve up to 10 rounds per minute. Its accuracy and power allowed it to function as a sniper weapon, hitting targets at distances that seemed impossible for small arms. Each hit not only damaged armor or equipment, but also had a psychological effect on the enemy, influencing the outcome of engagements. The PTRD-41 was more than a weapon. It was a symbol of inventiveness and military resourcefulness. It demonstrated how simple, reliable, and mass-produced arms could solve strategic challenges. Born in extreme circumstances where every minute of development mattered, it helped Soviet infantry confront German armored units at critical moments. Its story is a testament to how engineering courage and wartime necessity create tools that outlast their era and leave a lasting mark in history.
Even today, the PTRD-41 occasionally appears in local conflicts, still functioning as a weapon. It serves as a reminder that simplicity and reliability can be more important than technological sophistication. The rifle's history teaches the value of engineering skill, resourcefulness, and the creation of arms capable of altering the course of events.
The PTRD-41 survived decades, assisting soldiers under harsh conditions and becoming part of military culture, history, and the memory of Soviet infantry heroism. In summary, the PTRD-41 is more than just an anti-tank rifle. It symbolizes war, engineering ingenuity, and the courage of a soldier facing seemingly impenetrable armor. It was the first step in the development of Soviet anti-tank weapons, inspired the creation of more complex systems, and left an unforgettable mark in military history. The PTRD-41 story proves that simple, reliable weapons can change the course of battles, determine outcomes, and leave a legacy far longer than their active service period. By the mid-20th century, the PTRD-41 gradually lost relevance in regular armies. Tanks became thicker, armor more complex, and the introduction of rocket launchers and recoilless guns made handheld anti-tank weapons less effective in direct combat. Yet, the rifle did not disappear entirely. Partisan units, insurgent groups, and local armies retained it in their arsenals. Its simple design, high reliability, and availability of ammunition allowed the PTRD-41 to remain in use even decades later, when modern weapons were unavailable. In the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia, the PTRD-41 was deployed in local conflicts, often modified for specific conditions. Handles were altered, sights reinforced, and bipods added, adjustments that made it practical to fire despite the weapon's age. The rifle continued to be effective against light armored vehicles, fortifications, and transport, showing a level of efficiency that seems remarkable by modern standards.
Beyond its combat use, the PTRD-41 secured a lasting place in military history and culture. In Russian and international museums, it stands as a symbol of the Great Patriotic War, exemplifying the combination of engineering skill and operational necessity. Collectors and reenactors prize it for its historical significance and as a tangible example of a weapon used on the front lines. In films and video games, it remains a recognizable visual element, symbolizing the endurance and courage of a soldier facing armored vehicles head-on. The PTRD-41 story is enriched by remarkable facts. It was the first Soviet anti-tank rifle, produced in record time, just a few weeks. Despite being single-shot, skilled soldiers could achieve firing rates up to 10 rounds per minute. Its precision and power allowed it to serve as a sniper weapon, hitting targets at distances that seemed impossible for conventional rifles. Each shot not only pierced armor or equipment, but also affected enemy morale, shaping the outcomes of skirmishes and battles. The PTRD-41 was not just a tool, it became a symbol of creativity and military ingenuity. It demonstrated how simple, reliable, mass-produced weapons could fulfill strategic objectives. Born out of extreme necessity, when every moment of development counted, it enabled Soviet infantry to confront German armored units at decisive moments. Its legacy shows how technical ingenuity and operational demand produce arms that endure well beyond their initial purpose. Even in modern conflicts, the PTRD-41 occasionally resurfaces as a functional weapon. It serves as a reminder that simplicity and dependability often outweigh cutting-edge technology. Its history teaches the value of engineering foresight, resourceful adaptation, and creating tools capable of shaping the course of events. The PTRD-41 endured for decades, supporting soldiers under challenging conditions and remaining part of the cultural and historical memory of Soviet military heroism. In essence, the PTRD-41 is more than an anti-tank rifle. It represents warfare, engineering resourcefulness, and the courage of a soldier confronting seemingly impervious armor. It was the first step in the evolution of Soviet anti-tank weaponry, inspiring the development of more advanced systems and leaving an indelible mark on military history.
The rifle's story demonstrates that sometimes the simplest and most reliable weapons can change the course of events, determine the outcome of battles, and leave a legacy that far outlives their active service.